Hey guys and ghouls, welcome back to the Cozy Ghost. I'm your host October, and welcome back to Hiveswap Friendsim. Let's get back to Tizia. I thought it was a guy. It's not, guys. It's a chick. She cool though. Pick up more papers. You start making neat piles for all of her stuff. After watching you for a second, like she's making sure you're not screwing it up, she dramatically heaves herself to her feet and joins in the effort. Wow, hold on. The music's a little much for me. You start making neat piles of all her stuff. After watching you for a second, like yeah. Oh, I don't have time for this shit. Make sure to keep the B-34s together in my red folder. You look down at your current pile. B. That's the one with the little hook on top, right? Or is that G? Sweat pricks at your temples. You've picked up a little bit of written Alternian here and there, but you're still not anywhere near competent at it. Sifting through the papers, you search for anything familiar. You make out a few words, but there's just a lot of those little guys on papers, and you've got performance anxiety. Oh, right. You probably still can't read. You look up at her, startled. How can she tell? Well, I mean, you don't look much like a troll. It isn't exactly a gargantuan mental leap to assume you're not from around here. But also, I've heard about you. You straighten up. Any press is good press when it comes to friends discussing you, right? Teals talk. Oh. Unfortunately. Oh. She puts her mug down on the ground and picks up a fallen book, talking as she flips to whatever page she's looking for. That little asshole is gonna have even more unfortunate crap to say when he finds out I set us all back by dropping half our group project in a ditch. She paces in flustered circles until she finds a bookmark among the debris. Flicking a wet leaf off of it, she shoves it in the open spine of the book and slams it closed. Oh, whatever, I can't think about that yet. Gotta get all this back in order first. Right, yeah, the ordering of stuff. You keep at it, doing the best you can to keep similar looking things together. You can feel her eyes on your back and you turn to face judgment. You've basically got it right, actually. He did say you were quick at the draw. I'm Tizias, by the way. She doesn't so much smile as grimace. It looks mostly pleased as exhausted expressions go. That's as good friendship-building material as any other. You've certainly started with worse than being complimented. The breeze plays at the end of her frizzy hair, ruffling a few pages while it's at it. Now that you aren't frantically trying to prove your helpfulness and have a moment to think, you don't know if the sidewalk is the best place to be starting from scratch with a whole filing system. You open your mouth to tell her as much when a huge Papa gust follows in Breeze Jr.'s wake and blowing the neat stacks back into chaos. Mother grubbing. She sinks slowly back down into the snow globe of paper and takes a long sip from her mug sitting next to her, and then tilts her head back and unleashes a single deep gut holler. Ugh! You scuttle around, catching documents out of the air until the gust is gone. It's not that Tizias doesn't seem capable, it's just that she seems a bit burnt out. You know what it's like to feel like you're at the end of your rope. So now that you have half a swinging grab at a handle of things on here, you feel like it's your turn to do the heavy friendship lifting. Let's suggest that a small breather might help. You know a breaking point when you see one. You weren't expecting it so early in a potential friendship encounter, but still, it's clear that this troll needs some time to chill. This is a mess, yeah? She swings the pendulum of her chin over to glare dead in the eyes at your guts. Okay, yes, it's a mess, but it seems like maybe, just perhaps, it would be best to sort of put a pin in it all. To suck air in and out of your insulfilation sacs or whatever and just get it together for a minute. No group projects were ever aced when the clear leader was not at her peak mental performance. She wrinkles up her nose and closes her eyes. You know what? Fine, fuck it. Not all of it, of course, but this night specifically and everything and anyone I know or have thought extensively about before in my life. So that just leaves you. What do you have in mind, friend? Because I'm all out of ideas. That word still does a number on you, no matter how many times you hear it used flippantly. You have an idea already, so you hurriedly gather her shit into extremely unorganized piles, which she drops off in her hive to deal with later. You half expect her to just not come back out, but she does. She's kept only one heavily annotated tome in her bug, which she nods at when she speaks. I know, but these are for just in case. Anyway, do your worst. With a salute and a few gentle tugs at Tizia's sleeve to keep her moving, you get going. You and your Alternian pals have taken turns leading each other to some pretty wild places in your time here. The place you take Tizias to, though, is somewhere you haven't shared with anyone. It's where you come back to on days when you can't find a friend or don't want to impose on any of the ones you've made. It's on the outskirts of town, where the buildings are spread thinner until the landscape cuts upward in a jagged cliff face. Bolted into the side of the rock is a tower, or what's left of one. It's basically a heap of scaffolding and rusted-out ladders holding up a half-covered platform, but it's been a good place to staunch bleeding and stargaze. Do I give off an outdoorsy vibe to you? Does my half-untucked button-up and paltry muscle mass scream would love to scurry up a dilapidated relic? You'd worry about her hating your plan, but you kind of feel like she'd complain no matter where you took her, and at this point the die is cast. So heave-ho, you say. It's stronger than it looks. You offer to hold her stuff for her during the ascent. She gives you the book, but clutches the mug against her chest. You know better than to pry, but you're dying a little wondering why she's so weird about it, unless she's got liquor made from viscera in it. Or maybe her Lucis gave her the mug so it's special. Could be both. You shrug and start climbing. Like you thought she would, she follows you, and like before, she complains about it the whole time. And like the structure itself, you both weather it fine. At the top, she looks around. Is this your hive? It's more like a hideout. You still feel a little shy about it. It's not as fancy as your friends' hives. You don't have any weird animal parent to make you snacks or anything. There are only little keepsakes you've picked up along the way to set up on the creaky old table next to some complicated old tech you couldn't get to power on. This must be an old watchtower. From when this was part of her Imperial bitchiness's preferred method of surveillance. She runs a hand over a dusty screen. Oh, Trizza, you learned about her. No. Her bigger, badder, off-world counterpart, the Condess. Ah. You look at the rusted barrel of some terrifying weapon mounted in the corner, and then out over the landscape and sprawling town. In the distance, smoke rises from a freshly demolished hive. Glinting in the moonlight, drones circle it like buzzards. It's been like this here for a while, then. You sit down, your legs dangling off the side of the platform. Tizius joins you, a safe distance away from the edge. That is one hell of an understatement. But yeah, we've got a time-honored status quo in operation here. Streamlined, efficient, brutal. Tizius looks miserable. That's not what you were going for. You summon up the old Roy G. Roy G Biv in your hand for the 1000th time. Yeah. Red, orange, yellow, green. Greenish blue. Blue. Dark blue. Indigo, violet. Purple! There are two purples. 3 blues. 2 greens. 1 yellow. 1 orange, and 2 reds. Anyway, she's a lawyer. She's got the powers that be on her side. Saying so doesn't seem to cheer her up at all. I mean, you're not wrong. But being in a position to benefit from the system doesn't make the system more morally palatable. If I'm being real about it, it's more me being forced to uphold it than anything else. She nods towards the book in your hands. Oh, right. How does this all work anyway? Can she just not be a lawyer? Aren't there good ones? Yeah, I can quit if I want to get cold. There's always a choice. She sighs. It's not like I expect suffering to ever stop completely. It just seems like an awful lot of work to do to make sure it keeps happening. That's the entire job of legislacerator. Unless you're purple enough to get away with it, you're just guilty no matter what. Just a matter of going through all the fanfare of trial, all for the same result. It's sick, but it's so normal by now that no one knows how to begin questioning it. She looks more exhausted now than she did during the paper explosion. Like when you've used up all your sadness and all you have is a deep, broken fatigue. This isn't exactly the rejuvenating getaway you envision. There's just so much injustice. You continue to try to be positive. Are there not political parties, some secret underground movements or anything? Sure, most low-bloods we've met have a healthy, fatalistic nonchalance about their situations, but there's gotta be something else out there. There were a few people who tried to stir up shit back in the day. All kind of hushed up and hard to find any information on the history of them, though. Definitely not the kind of thing they teach you in legislacerator training. One was a mutant blood, and the other had wings, so I guess they didn't have much of a chance anyway. You can't imagine the story having a happy ending, but you still want to know more. There's a subtle shift in her tone of voice now that she's doing more than only complaining. Draws you in. One of them seems to have gathered enough of a following to have become a kind of religious figure from what little I can find about him. Yeah, the Signless. The other one led a military revolt. They both were killed along with their attempts at change. That would be the Tavros character. Can't remember his name. I don't even know what happened to their compatriots. She stops to squint at you. I don't know how you got me talking like this, but in the fuck it spirit of the night, I'm just gonna keep going. If it wasn't clear, I'm telling you things that can get me extremely cold, so like, please be chill. You're so chill. The chillest, and also probably pretty gullible yourself. Good point. She squints at you a little longer, then stares out into the night. Her jaw muscle clenches a few times before she speaks. I have some ideas. She's still not looking at you, but she sits up a little straighter. You feel your spine following suit almost on its own. All of us training to be legislators like to practice throwing our weight around. Some of us more than others, which I guess you have first-hand experience with. But we don't have much real power yet. We will, though, if we pass our exams, which I will. I've been staying up most days studying every documented piece of the law, and some underground stuff too when I find it. There are exploitable loopholes I don't know about. If I can establish myself as a major player, I might have a chance to change things. Some things you can only take apart from the inside out. By now, she's built up a fevered energy, even with the sluggish way she talks. When you shift in your seat, she kind of snaps out of it. Oh, sorry. Guess I got a little worked up. I don't exactly get to talk about this very often. It's kind of overwhelming to think about how fucked every little thing is all the time. But now that I see it clearly, I can't not do something. It's like alternating as a giant fire and I'm pissing on a tiny corner of it while the rest of everything burns up around me. Your brain is buzzing with how real all that felt. You can't really add anything to it, so you just nod. Are things less abysmal where you're from? Oh boy. In ways, yeah. At home, the accused is called a defendant, at least, as in they get a defense. Her eyes brighten. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Does your justice system work? More than theirs does. But there's still a lot. Yeah. You exhale slowly, trying to buy yourself time to encapsulate all of your planet's various cultures and societal structures and similarly overwhelming list of injustices in an intelligent blurb. You settle on, not always. Not for everyone. Her laugh is short and hollow. So much for enlightened life forms existing somewhere in the universe. You guess until a more kind and just alien life form comes to take over, you'll have to make do with each other. Yeah, you're not so bad. I'd take on an oppressive regime with you anytime. She gives your arm an awkward tap with her fist, then looks back at over the edge. Anyway, I'm no religious figure or military strategist. There's gotta be somewhere out there who is. Gotta use what skills I have in stun, I guess, until I find them. What the fuck else would I do with my time? Keep pissing on the fire is the best anybody can do, you reckon? That and get others hydrated enough to do the same. She laughs. Keep on pissing, huh? I'll drink to that. She takes a big swig from her mug. After a beat, you silently, and without looking at you, extends her arm your way. You stare in the mug's deep depths, a little unnerved. It doesn't look like viscera, but you've been burned before. I won't kill you. You're not sure what it will do, but Tizius is truthful if nothing else, so bottoms up. What the fuck? It's water. Tizius grins and taps her temple with a claw. Gotta give the people something. Otherwise they might think I'm the way I am on my own. Then where would we be? You know, letting people in can be helpful, you know, sometimes. Shh. I'm fine. You're not convinced. Okay, I'll admit it. Not a bad idea to relax every once in a while. Get your priorities straight. This was a decent time. You're glad she's glad, but mostly just talked about the whole time with the same stuff that she was overwhelmed by to begin with. Does that even count? You learned a lot, but she still looks pretty wiped. As soon as you think of that, she yawns. She's so driven. You shudder a bit when you imagine what she could do if she took the time to rest for real. You pat the pile of blankets next to you. It's no bed or tub of soap or slime for that matter, but it's gotten you through enough. She looks warily at it and yawns again. I guess my Lucis and my mate spirit will just think I'm at the book hive anyway. One little nap won't hurt. I get up early tomorrow and reorganize a stupid busy work project. She tentatively lowers herself down onto the blankets. Her eyes close for a brief second before they snap open again, glaring at you with full force. Don't doubt me either. I've got it under control. Oh, you have zero doubts in her abilities, you say. She curls back up against herself, and a small rattle of contentness shakes in her throat. Out in the distance, the blaze has dimmed to a thin plume of smoke. You hope whoever's hive it was is okay. You're not sleepy, so you'll keep watch to make sure she gets up by sunrise. You'll tilt your head back and look up at unfamiliar constellations. Your head feels full. It's intense, but And not exactly what you'd call happy, but you know you're feeling it with her, and that's far from nothing. Aww, that's so cute. Yeah, I really like how this game uses the backdrop of another world, another culture, to kind of commentate on the harshities of our reality, but also give us a good point to like point out everything that's good about our reality. And I really hope that this game, because every character we've kind of met so far, except for like one or two, doesn't like the system. Genuinely does not like it in the slightest. Like, I think the only character, let me check. The only character so far that I felt does like the system is this guy. Everyone else is fucking struggling. Everyone else does not like the system. And I'm interested to see, as we go farther and as we touch upon bluer bloods and purple bloods, how this will work in our favor. But until then, I think I'm going to have to end this episode here, so thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, hit that like button, subscribe, do all of the things that you can to help this channel thrive. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day. Bye. Oof. Bye.